My speech today is going to be about the guiding lines for the international call for bids. Actually, well, this is not really about guidelines because many of them have already been designed. So I would prefer today to tell you more about what's going to happen next after this conference. So I would like to explain to you the pathway that is going to lead us to the call for bids. And I'm looking into the eyes of the people belonging to this group because we have already talked about all these issues, and a lot of material has already been gathered in order to reach a good level of recap. Usually, when a call for bids is launched, there is a commissioner, a client. That means that the client has to explain what it wants. It needs to tell the specific applicants who are going to respond to the call for bids, which are its own wishes, because anybody may apply from all over the world. That is why it is important to provide complete and accurate explanation about the specific needs of the client. Usually, it is very important to well define one's own needs, and usually good architectural projects also depend on the ability of the client to explain their own needs. And I think that so far we have been rather good. I mean by that we have been able so far to define what we would like. That's why I'm quite optimistic about the future, and I'm confident that we're going to get a good project. Clients need to provide data about the place, in this case the Prato Galli area, but also we need to provide information about other involved places. And these places have already been mentioned yesterday, but not only yesterday, we have talked about them also today, in particular with Elena Pirazzoli. Secondly, the client needs to define its own interlocutors, because then we need to address them. We also need, as client, to define the willingness and the needs that we have, because when you launch a call for bids, you need to specify what you're looking for. It is important to provide all the terms and specifications. This is extremely important. It is really important to provide the key issues of the Villa Emma Foundation, and all that should be indicated in a preliminary document. I go back very quickly to the issue of the place, of the location, of the venue, because it is important first off to define what may and may not be implemented within the considered area. Of course, the existing buildings have to be respected, and this is a must-do thing. But then we need to consider what can be done with this Prato Galli area. So we need to define the specific quantitative data that we have available. And regardless of the kind of architectural solution that is going to be designed and found, we absolutely need to stay in front of Villa Emma, and this is also the title of our call for bids, and be part of a wide landscape. Today's landscape is made of trees, is made of our Villa Emma, and moreover it is surrounded by a quite peculiar and narrow landscape. So this is something that needs to be considered. So the designers who are going to define the project will have to consider that. So we need to understand how to cope with the presence of Emma, and in particular we will need to make these facility perfectly fit into the surrounding context and landscape. Moreover, it is important to comply with the architectural style and context of Nonantola. In architectural and art terms, we absolutely need to consider a scattered project spread all over the area with several ideas and projects. The basic concept is about developing these projects all through the area. Our wish would be to come up with something that is well integrated. That is why we foresee the implication of architects, and not only. About the building, we're going to provide much more detailed information. Certainly, we need to consider the functions that we want to develop and implement. Fausto talked about this yesterday. I see architects today in the room, and so I really want to be very clear on that. We need, for instance, a display area, a welcome area, and in particular an area where people will be able to have some rest and drink and eat something, but also we need a documentation center and an education area, regardless then of how all these activities are going to be carried out. And then we also need rooms for seminars, conferences, meetings and workshops. And yesterday we specifically talked about the setting up of a workshop area and also of some meeting rooms and areas, because we would really like to have lots of students coming to the facility to visit them, because let's not forget that students and pupils are the ideal recipients of such a place. That is why we need to consider them as priority target group. On top of that, we should consider our target audience in a wider sense. Who are the people we would like to attract to this place? Who are the visitors that we would like to get to us? I think that Ada Chiara said everything she could about the meanings of such a building, and also the kind of function it should play and the language that could be used. So I won't elaborate on that any further. Certainly, architects have their own ways of seeing things and developing topics. That is why we need to keep neutral and simply try to explain what we need without influencing anybody. It is absolutely paramount to keep a neutral eye, because we really want to select the best proposer ever. So the best proposal would be made of several things, and several factors would be considered. and certainly the connection between the proposal and our theme is going to be crucial. Well, again, we are going to interact with designers of various kinds, architects, engineers, and also artists. Because, as it was said beforehand, there are several meeting areas that we would like to set up, and also we would like to really create a welcoming place. We know the so-called Stolperstein, stumbling stones, that are a possibility to mark places and areas, but also we may consider using lights and or sounds to specifically trace and mark special areas that are scattered all over the village and that have a specific and special meaning with respect to our story. I would like to link up now with something that was said yesterday about the relationship between the Villa Emma Foundation and the designers. This is something very important because usually, according to the specific regulations in the field, we need to define the terms and specs in the call for bids repository, but also we should provide additional information. As I said, we are going to launch a call for projects, and in particular we're going to have two separate phases. During the first phase of the call, we're going to ask for applicants to submit their general idea. So we are going to ask for drafts and short indications in a report, and this is going to be the first phase of the selection process. Then later on, 5 proposals are going to be shortlisted, and these 5 proposals are going to go through the second round of selection, and then they're going to submit a preliminary project. So they will need to submit something more specific and more detailed. So once the designers are going to be pinpointed and selected, then a dialogue will start with these interlocutors. So we're going to get in touch with these people and have an intense exchange on the project itself. So this is going to be a very important moment because many more things are going to be explained accurately and completely in order to help contenders provide the best project ever, because we want really to guide our designers in designing the best possible facility. So this dialogue is going to be extremely important, and it will play a key role in letting us get what we want. Well, now I will shut up and end my speech, because I think we're going to have more time later on when we are going to launch the official call with the specific terms and specs and all the attached documents that need to be provided in order to launch such a competition. And the Villa Emma Foundation will provide all the possible information in order to help applicants respond in the best possible way. Thank you.